The Black Sea, an unassuming expanse of water, suddenly becomes a battleground for a colossal military clash. In an instant, the skies explode as a Chinese DF-21D missile locks onto its target, an unsuspecting U.S. Navy F-35, executing a routine reconnaissance mission. The missile speeds through the air, its trajectory nearly impossible to intercept. The jet, known for its superior agility and stealth, becomes a fiery target. The sound of the explosion rips through the calm, sending shockwaves across the waters and leaving a momentary silence. For a heartbeat, it seems that nothing could disrupt the seemingly unstoppable momentum of China's growing power in the region. But then, a counterattack. Within minutes, U.S. warships move into position, launching their own missiles, ready to reclaim control. What changed in that instant? Could this be the beginning of a new chapter in global warfare? Spark in the Black Sea, with the potential to engulf entire nations in a geopolitical conflict? It begins with the F-35, a marvel of American engineering, flying silently through the overcast skies of the Black Sea. The jet, equipped with cutting-edge surveillance systems, monitors potential threats and scans for any signs of aggression. The United States maintains a careful presence in the region, its naval strength projecting power to deter adversaries from pushing too far. But the calm is shattered when the first Chinese missile streaks across the horizon. The DF-21D, known as the carrier killer, is designed for one purpose: to strike and disable large military assets like aircraft carriers and their accompanying fighter jets. Launched from a ground-based mobile platform in Crimea, its high-speed, maneuverable trajectory makes it nearly impossible to intercept by traditional means. The F-35, performing reconnaissance just 40 miles off the coast, finds itself caught off guard. The pilot responds quickly, activating countermeasures and engaging the aircraft's advanced evasive maneuvering systems. But the missile's speed and precision leave little time for reaction. In the blink of an eye, the F-35 is engulfed in a fiery explosion, its wreckage scattering across the Black Sea. Within moments, a network of U.S. military satellites picks up the strike and transmits real-time data back to Fleet Command. The Aegis defense system, stationed aboard U.S. destroyers nearby, springs into action, scanning the skies for additional threats. One of the most advanced multi-role defense systems in the world, tracks the incoming Chinese missiles and prepares to neutralize follow-up attacks on the USSR Le Burke. Captain Kelly orders an immediate counteroffensive. Launch the Tomahawks. Moments later, a flurry of missile launches ripple from the warship's silos. The Tomahawk cruise missiles streak across the sea, targeting Chinese anti-ship missile sites positioned along Crimea's coastline. Their flight paths are precise, cutting through the stormy skies, designed to neutralize the threat before more missiles can be launched. Simultaneously, a squadron of U.S. Navy F-A-18 Super Hornets scrambles from the nearby USS George H.W. Bush aircraft carrier. These jets, though not as stealthy as the F-35, are heavily armed with precision-guided munitions, ready to launch airstrikes on Chinese naval installations. Their arrival in the combat zone marks a significant escalation. The F-A-18's initial targets are Chinese radar stations, vital for coordinating missile launches. One by one, the radar systems fall silent, unable to warn Chinese forces of the U.S. counterattack. On the ground in Crimea, Chinese missile operators scramble, but it's too late. A second round of Tomahawks from the USSR Le Burke destroys their command centers, leaving smoldering ruins. However, the Chinese are not without response. From their aircraft carrier near the southern coast, J-15 fighter jets take off, scrambling to engage incoming U.S. fighters. The skies above the Black Sea become a deadly chessboard, with both sides maneuvering in an intricate aerial dance. The battle escalates as both nations prepare for prolonged confrontation. The strategic value of the Black Sea beyond the immediate tactical exchanges is becoming clear. This is not just a military engagement, it is a test of influence. Control over this vital region could reshape the balance of power across Europe, NATO, and the wider world. The battle is far from over, and both sides are fully aware that the consequences of failure will reverberate beyond their borders. As each new missile, fighter jet, and strategic decision comes into play, the stakes continue to rise. As the hours unfold, the intensity of the Black Sea conflict mounts. The United States' strategic assets are now fully engaged, every move calculated to protect NATO's interests in the region. With U.S. warships launching missile strikes and fighter jets locked in air superiority battles, the Chinese military has no choice but to escalate further. In the skies, U.S. F-18s engaged Chinese J-15 fighters. The aircraft, evenly matched in speed and maneuverability, circle one another in a dogfight above the Black Sea. The F-18s utilize advanced avionics and air-to-air missiles, locking onto the J-15s with precision. Despite evasive maneuvers, the U.S. fighters gain the advantage. Their radar-guided missiles find their marks. The first J-15 spirals out of control, crashing into the water, followed by two more in rapid succession. On the ground, the Chinese scramble their final assets. The first wave of U.S. strikes has crippled Chinese surveillance and radar capabilities, but they see an opportunity to strike back. A new weapon system, previously unseen by U.S. forces, activates on radar. The DF-17 hypersonic missile, launched from a mobile platform along the coast. Traveling at over 5 times the speed of sound, the DF-17 can breach even the most advanced defense systems. The Aegis system, though capable, is pushed to its limit. With no time to waste, the USS Arleigh locks on to the incoming threat. But the missile's speed makes interception nearly impossible. The ship shakes violently as the missile strikes one of its secondary structures, sending plumes of smoke into the sky. The damage is not fatal but marks a significant shift in the battle. Communications aboard the USS Arleigh are temporarily disabled, preventing coordination of the next wave of missile launches. The U.S. Navy is forced to regroup, sending reinforcements from other ships in the region. The world watches as the balance of power teeters. But resilience has always been a U.S. military hallmark. Within minutes, the Arleigh restores partial communication, and the Navy deploys additional fighters and warships to bolster defenses. The Chinese seize the opportunity to launch a wave of anti-ship missiles from bombers, targeting U.S. naval assets. The U.S. fleet deploys countermeasures, decoys, and smokescreens, creating chaos over the Black Sea. Yet U.S. F-35s, reinforced by more fighters, lock onto the bombers with deadly accuracy. Within minutes, 2 Chinese bombers are reduced to flaming wreckage, though China continues pressing its advantage. Their leadership authorizes cyber warfare tactics. Hackers target U.S. command centers and satellites. The effects are subtle but dangerous, signaling a new dimension of war. The conflict is no longer just about missiles and jets, it is about dominance in cyberspace. Will the U.S. Navy's technological superiority hold, or will China's tactical innovation prove too powerful? As both sides push forward, the Black Sea becomes a vast expanse of chaos and uncertainty. The Chinese launch J-20 stealth fighters, capable of evading radar detection. But U.S. F-35s, working in sync with the Aegis system, counter them. Tense aerial battle follows, with the IM-120 AMRAAM missiles finding their marks, shooting down multiple J-20s. Meanwhile, Chinese submarines attempt to strike U.S. ships with anti-ship missiles. The Arleigh, already damaged, faces another barrage, but fights back with decoys and last-second intercepts. Though hit hard, the ship retaliates before retreating. U.S. satellites provide critical intelligence, allowing counteroffensives to unfold. The USS George H.W. Bush becomes the centerpiece, launching waves of F-18s and F-35s to push back Chinese forces. The first strikes cripple radar systems, but China intensifies cyber efforts, disrupting communications. U.S. satellites scramble, intelligence feeds are manipulated, and chaos spreads. At the same time, Chinese submarine launches advanced missiles at the USS George H.W. Bush. Despite countermeasures, one missile hits the carrier, disrupting operations. The U.S. adapts, repositioning its fleet for the final phase of battle. The Black Sea War enters its most dangerous chapter. The conflict highlights shifts in global strategy, U.S. strength in Aegis systems, Tomahawks and air superiority, versus China's cyber capabilities and hypersonic missiles. Though China suffers heavy losses, their innovation complicates the U.S. response. The Black Sea, critical for global trade and security, now symbolizes the contest for global power. The lesson is clear. Technology, resilience, and adaptability will define tomorrow's balance of power.